Hi everyone, Chris Natzke here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week, live on Facebook. Today I want to talk about the idea of resistance. Now I don't know about you, but I've certainly had numerous times in my life where I didn't go for what I really wanted because I just didn't feel like it today. I'll wait till I get more inspiration. Just don't feel inspired. And the fact of the matter is that many of us go through that. I've certainly gone through that myself. And our feelings are not a bad thing. In fact, I think it's important for us to be in contact with our feelings. But we have to be able to discern when those feelings are something that need to be expressed versus something that we're using to hold ourselves back. You know, one thing that I found through my studies is that the ego is really there to protect us. And oftentimes what will happen is that protection will show up in resistance because the ego doesn't want us to get hurt or get embarrassed or, get out ahead of our skis, so to speak. And so what ends up happening is we develop procrastination and resistance from going for what we want as a means of protecting ourselves. It's what I guess we would call in coach speak being in our comfort zones. Now, I think that comfort zones sometimes get a bad rap, right? After a long day work and you want to go sit in your recliner or go out on your deck and read a book, that's good. That's just really good self-care. But what I'm talking about is when we allow ourselves to pitch a tent or even build a 4-bedroom home in that comfort zone, and it's something we begin to repeat time and time and time again in our lives. So what do we do when that hits? How can we move through that resistance? Well, I have to tell you, as a martial artist, one of the lessons that I learned early on is there were going to be several times during my training, during the course of my training, that I didn't want to train. I didn't want to get out there and kick and punch and stretch and hit pads and spar and do forms and all those things that we do as martial artists. There were days that I just didn't want to do it. But what I found is when I just committed to taking that first step, to moving my body, to just get it in motion, and then commit to take the next step, and then the next and the next, pretty soon I started to get into momentum. And many times, those days that I started out that I really didn't want to train at all became some of my best training sessions ever. Some of my best ever. One of my favorite books is by Steven Pressfield. It's called The War of Art. And he has, the whole premise of this book is helping writers understand how to get through resistance. And one of my favorite quotes in that entire book is he quotes a famous author named Somerset Maugham. And someone's asking him during a dinner party or a conversation of some sort, they're talking about this idea, do you write on a schedule or do you write only when you're inspired? And the old author stops for a moment and then he smiles and he says, I only write when I'm inspired. Just so happens I get inspired every day at 9 a.m. So that commitment to taking that action, and whether it's something in the moment or something that we plan on a schedule, that we're going to commit ourselves and then just take the next step and then the next step and then the next step. And pretty soon we find we're able to overcome that resistance. And when we do that consistently over time, that's when we achieve breakthrough results. So, here's my challenge for you this week, my friend. What is the thing that you're resisting doing? Is it moving the body? Is it moving the pen? Is it your fingers on the keyboard? Is it a conversation or a phone call that you've been putting off making? Where are you having resistance show up in your life? And where could you take a step this week to move through that so you can move on to bigger and better things? So thanks so much for listening today, my friend. I hope you found value in this message. If you did, please like it, please share it, and make comments below as well. And as a continuing thing, if you have experiences from this and maybe you've had a victory in moving through some resistance this week, let me know about that too. I'd love to hear how these messages impact you. So anyway, it's been Chris Natzke from Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.